This is Roberta Foster, and welcome to today's edition of the Author's Corner, brought to you by KNEO 91.7 FM, The Word. And today I welcome Dr. Katherine Pasour to Author's Corner. She's written a wonderful book. It's called Stay the Course, a devotional handbook to survive and thrive in your first year of college and beyond. It's published by Morgan James Faith, and she'll tell you more about how to find the book at the end of the program. Let me tell you just a little bit about Katherine's background. She holds degrees in health, physical education, religion, and a PhD in education. She was a professor and administrator at Lenoir Rhine University in Hickory, North Carolina. She's an author of another book, Honoring God with My Body, Journey to Wellness and a Healthy Lifestyle. She now leads Bible studies in her church and community and speaks regularly on the topics of faith, wellness, and meeting life's challenges. So, Katherine, thank you so very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Roberta. It's wonderful to be here.
So, why don't you start us off by telling us what prompted you to write this book about surviving college?
I've had the joy and privilege of teaching at the college level for more than 25 years. And I noticed that so many of our beginning students just really struggle to adapt to the wonderful adventure, yet terrifying adventure of college, because it's so different. You know, they've been living at home with their families and having guidelines and rules and somebody to help them get up in the morning and tell them what to do and what not to do. Not that that was always the case, that they made those choices, but then all of a sudden they are thrust into a situation where they have so much more independence and they are learning about different cultures and different beliefs and philosophies, and they're really vulnerable at that age because they are adults, but they're still struggling to wrap their minds around what their beliefs really are. So I tried to develop a handbook to help them succeed in college, but also a devotional guide to help them keep their faith as they're thrust into this new environment with so many temptations and different ideals. And so I just wanted them to feel confident that they would have something that would help them in this new experience. You use the word unprepared, and as I was reading on this, that is what really resonated with me, that they are unprepared. So what can parents do to help prepare their kid for college before they even leave home? That is a great question. And foremost, the most important thing is to continue to show them how much they love them and care for them and pray for them, because it's going to be so different. Then to keep the communication lines open, encourage their child to call them whenever they're needed, but also to be firm with them and say to their son or daughter, this is going to be a different situation. You're going to be faced with new choices, but you've got to be independent from the standpoint of standing up for your beliefs and not being influenced by negative situations. Our students need to remember their goal. What are they going there for? Yes, it is a new adventure, but it's also a choice that they're making towards their future. So anything that begins to interfere with that, if people start to try to tempt them to not go to class, let's go to this party instead, or let's do this or that, whatever, some sort of distraction that would keep them away from either attending class or for preparing for class. Our students need to be prepared to know that there's going to be distractions and temptations, and they've got to have the coping skills that they need to resist those. That's their faith, but it's also their determination and perseverance to stick with their goal. Is this going to help me complete my education and work toward my career, or is this choice that I'm being offered to do something different? How's that going to affect? So they always need to remember that their short-term decisions can have a either a really positive impact on their long-term goals or a really negative impact.
Mm-hmm. A pastor friend of mine, he gave me some really wonderful advice, and he said, if you decide ahead of time what you're going to do when you face that particular temptation, it will make it easier to stand up for the truth. And I imagine it might even be helpful if parents even took that last year that their child is at home and just kind of ran through various scenarios. What do you think of that idea?
I think it's a great idea, but of course, we were young once, and we realized sometimes how we reacted to our parents trying to say, well, when I was young, this happened.
Right.
And they think that, all that's changed, but I tell students, I say, you'd be surprised what your mom and dad or your aunts and uncles did when they were in college. But they survived it. But it is, I think they see us as old people, and of course we are older, but they see they see themselves as being in a really different stage of their life, and they think they are invulnerable, that they will survive any situation and just breeze through it. I think a lot of students go two different mindsets when they go. Some are just absolutely terrified, and others are so confident that college is going to be the best thing ever and the most wonderful experience that when temptation strikes them, they're just overblown by it because they feel like they can do all these other things as well. That they can skip class and catch up tomorrow, or they can skip this assignment and it won't matter because this is college. They can make it up, but just need to recognize that college is really, really different. So I think it's great for parents to talk through things, but as parents, we need to keep a realistic view of, well, how well did we listen to our parents when they told us things? So it is important to keep those communication lines open. And I really love the idea that you just said from your pastor that we need to prepare ourselves for those things. And even as adults in our career, we know we're going to face things. Do we skip this task and just think, it's not really important, I don't have to do that? But we know that the repercussions return. If we've been given a project in our job and we do a terrible presentation or don't complete it, it comes back to get us. So I think it is helpful for parents to tell their children that, yes, I made this mistake, and this is what I should have done. And that will help the students know that, well, yeah, these things happen to our parents too, and they had to work through it. So, and especially when it comes to faith issues, if our children being faced with a task with the question of whether or not they're going to indulge in alcohol or drugs or sexual activity, our young adult students need to be prepared to how to refuse those temptations, and sometimes those things are really hard to talk about with our children, but it's important to do so.
Amen. Well, we're going to learn more about how to talk to young people and to help prepare them for their first year in college and beyond in just a moment. I'm talking with Katherine Pasour about her book, Stay the Course, a devotional handbook to survive and thrive in your first year of college and beyond, published by Morgan James Faith. And you're listening to Author's Corner. I'm Roberta Foster. Just think what a wonderful gift this book would be for all of your graduating high school students and their parents as a gift for them. But anyway, one of the questions that I had was, the college student is in college, the parents are communicating with them periodically, and you've talked about keeping an open line of communication. What are some of the signs that a student is getting off track? So what can parents be looking for? And then how do they help their children to thrive spiritually while away at college?
Parents really need to watch out for any sudden change in behavior. If their student has been really outgoing and open in conversations and they're calling or texting frequently, and then all of a sudden that begins to dwindle away and stop, then that's definitely a red flag. Also, if they get some sort of indication that their child is becoming depressed or sad or feeling like they're not being successful or not accepted where they are. But oftentimes the student won't tell them these things. And so one of the chapters in the book is trying to encourage the student to maintain that communication as well. So because they need to be able to speak to their parents, especially if they're sick or if they're feeling sad and lonely. Homesickness is a real thing. And so all of those things enter in. So what the parents can do, of course, is try to, if they've arranged that they're going to talk at a certain time and the student doesn't call, call or text and try to continue to communicate and ask questions, not so much from the standpoint of what's going on there, but rather, how are you feeling? How your class is going? That sort of thing, before they really delve into the deeper reasons. Because if the student is worried or concerned, two things might happen. They might call the parent every night and say, "Oh, everything's going terrible. I failed my test," and on like that. But on the other hand, the student might say, "I've got to do this myself, and I cannot ask for help," and withdraw. But every campus, whether they are a secular university or a smaller religious school, every campus has these avenues that students can reach out for help, whether it be for academic help or emotional help or counseling. They have, and there will be organizations where they can join that the students are more in line with what their beliefs are. So it's really, really important for every student to seek out a support group of students that have the same goals in mind as they do, to succeed and to do a good job while they're in there. So that's important too. So the parents need to encourage the students even before they go off. And you're going to meet a lot of new people. Try to choose your friends wisely so that they have the same ideals as you do. And then those students will support each other, and they'll notice if one or the other will notice if a student is struggling, and they'll support each other. So I know I've rambled some, but to summarize, keep those communication lines open. If they notice any sudden changes in behavior or the way they were communicating, reach out to the student, even if it means going for a visit. Now, college students are not necessarily going to welcome the parents to just drop in, but if the parent is really concerned, then they need to reach out. And there will be people on campus that they can also reach out to if they're really concerned in an emergency-type situation.
Well, as far as the book goes, you've got a variety of different chapters, and they're very short, and so it's easy to probably take one chapter on a daily basis or regular basis, and you even include a prayer at the end. Why did you do that?
Well, college students are busy, so I made the individual sections, the chapters, short so they could read it quickly in the evening or in the morning. But they're also labeled specifically, relationships or learning how to speak to your professor or what to do when somebody's trying to tempt you. So in the table of contents, the student can look up a particular section if they're needing some advice in a specific area. And then each one has a scripture and a prayer as well, because, our Father loves us. And he wants us to succeed. Jesus said, "I came to help you have a more abundant life." He wants us to succeed on this journey and be the best that we can be. And so Jesus is with our children while they're there in strange places. So I want them to feel confident in keeping that faith connection. And even they're going to run into students who don't come from a Christian background.
Sure.
This may be an opportunity for our faith-based students to reach out and witness to other students.
Wonderful.
And even show them, say, "Hey, I got this book that can offer you some helpful advice for that situation," and show them that particular verse and be a way that they could witness to others as well.
Well, today I've had the pleasure of talking with Dr. Katherine Pasour, who wrote the book Stay the Course, a devotional handbook to survive and thrive in your first year of college and beyond. So, Katherine, tell our listeners how they can find out about this book and other that you've written.
Oh, thank you, Roberta, for asking that. Stay the Course is available at all major bookstores, both in the store or online, from Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Walmart. All of your favorite booksellers will have it, but even your brick-and-mortar store will order it for you if they don't have it in stock.
So one more time, the book today is Stay the Course, a devotional handbook to survive and thrive in your first year of college and beyond, written by Katherine Pasour. And we certainly thank Morgan James Faith for providing a copy of the book for us today. Katherine, it's been a delight talking with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Roberta. It's been a delight being with you.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's interview or would like to hear it again, you can find it on your favorite podcast platform or through kneo.org. This is Roberta Foster on the Author's Corner. Join us again next time.